guys? Good morning. Welcome back to another live stream here with the Everyday Growth Advisors. I hope you're having a great morning and a great trading day. So far, so good. We called exactly the top here where we were expecting a rejection right at the 43.34. I must admit that I felt like the rejection was going to come earlier, but nonetheless, we are on track and as planned. So listening and coming to this live stream is all about consistency and putting in the work. If you're here, you get the opportunity, and more importantly, you learn. And so far, so good. We're looking like a pullback all the way down into the 42.34 as the first possibility, and then 4200. And if not, then 4140 and 4170 becomes the last line of defense here for bulls to secure the upside. So we'll continue to see how this market plays out. Of course, there is a lot of talk on how this market's going to shake out in the next couple of months, heading into the midterm election. Of course, seasonality is going to point towards a pullback here and then a resumption of the trend somewhere in November. So we'll see how much time we have to live it up in this bull run that is kind of now taking hold of a pullback. So more updates as we see. Yeah, Meme Mania is back. In other news, stocks like Big Bath and Beyond are up almost multiple 100% over the past couple of days. Hope you guys have maybe caught a piece of the action. I still have some shares open of BBBY, yesterday I did alert the group on Discord that some $80 and $70 and $75 calls were being bought for next year expiry, with some interesting amount of money being thrown at it. We also saw later on some, after the halt, about $600,000 and then $1 million or so being thrown into Bed Bath and Beyond further for some upside betting. So we don't really know where this is going to end, but pre-market here is looking very interesting. Of course, we're seeing some more upside here, and we'll see if we can break this high here. It obviously needs to break above $29, let's just say, to really continue this momentum to the upside. It looks like we're going to break right now, in fact, and we'll obviously be watching this one pretty closely. I don't intend to trade options. I haven't been trading options because the IVs are so high. The implied volatility of the option chain is at 400 or 500%, which means you're overpaying for these contracts. And there goes BBBY, pre-market here moving up into the $29. We'll see how far it can go up. Now, why is this happening? I alerted the group almost a week ago that stocks like BBBY and APRN were short float. The short floats of these stocks were pretty high, so it's almost very identical to the GME scenario from last year. However, with one minor difference, that whoever's on the other side of this trade is getting squeezed, in a less intense manner. The short float, I think, currently stands at, let me see real quick. What is the short float of BBBY here? I think it was 102% yesterday, and no, not this one. I think it was more than 100%. So definitely more shares have been lent out than there should be, and so right now for the shorts to cover, it's going to be almost impossible. And we'll see how far this thing can squeeze to the upside. I think if we definitely get up to the $40 level, that's going to be pretty insane. Not to mention, this thing looks like it's just starting off. If you look at the previous short squeeze from last year in 2021, this is just kind of the beginning part of it, and then we get one more squeeze. $32 is going to be a big level here, and if it gets above $32.35 arrives very, very soon. So from here to 32 is going to be an interesting ride, to say the least. Of course, as I mentioned, I already have shares. I have about 830 shares, averaged in around $14 or so. $14.53 is the price, and they're pretty nicely up already at this point. I might take some off the table today, and then let the rest ride for free in this run. Going back to SPX real quick, let's look at the technicals before we move on into Nasdaq, VIX, and whatever else that we're watching. And also remember that if you want us to break out any tickers, please put them in the comments so that we can take a look for you. And as usual, please remember to subscribe and like if this is your first time here. Welcome into the stream, and I truly appreciate you guys taking the time out to be here. So SPX here, very simple, right? We have the demand zone, which we drew in the last session on Monday. And 4120 to 4200 is where demand is likely to come in again. So pullback into this region is very, very normal and expected. We will obviously be watching to see if we can get a higher high after putting in this bottom here, or are we going to get a lower high, that means like this, and then a rejection further down into 4060 or 4000, and then that would be your two-wave configuration into where this demand zone is, and a little bit below that, because there is another demand zone here at 44,000 to 4,060 or so. So we'll be watching that pretty closely on SPX in the coming weeks. Today at 2 p.m. is the Fed meeting minutes, which will be released. And inflation numbers in Europe are still not improved, which is, obviously a deeper problem for their economy. Let's look at the Nasdaq. So we saw the Nasdaq break out of 13,559, which was a key level, and we were expecting to retest 13,865. Let's see if we can pull forward back down all the way down into 13,300 or so. Let's put in some additional levels here now that we're out here. 13,337 is one of them, and if we do break down below that, then we're looking at around, I want to say 13,136 or so. 13,136. Let's just say 13,150, somewhere around there. So there are multiple levels here for support on Nasdaq. The big level obviously is going to be 13,000, or just a little shy of 13,000. 12,900 is really the big level on Nasdaq for a possible bounce. But are we really going to come all the way down here? We obviously have to play this objectively. So what are the pivot levels for today? Below 13,474, pretty much, right? That's going to be a nice pivot down into 13,337. We've been having a lot of rug pulls and quick buy-ups because bulls are still trying to scramble to get exposure. So we really have to see some momentum push down here if we want to, continue catapulting downwards. And the VIX is sitting pretty at around $20 this morning. Yesterday it gapped up and then fell all the way down again. Until volatility doesn't really spike up here, and we don't see any out-the-money option betting on the indices, maybe we shouldn't be taking any additional risk for downside positioning just yet. So we should definitely play this one to the vest. And then we had healthcare, which was one of the sectors we were watching to break out. It did break out, and today it's back at 133 because the entire market is kind of bleeding, and only meme stocks are kind of rallying. But I do think that healthcare does have a possibility to run to the upside here. We'll be continuing to watch this one. Of course, if it breaks below 133 and starts rejecting below 133, then I'll probably exit out my XLV position. But I think that there might be some liquidity hunting going on. What is the sector with the best downside risk to reward ratio? It's financials. And if financials worsen over here and starts pivoting below $35, then we may see a broader correction in the market, and financials come down here. Remember that financials are the backbone of the economy, so we will be looking closely at what financials are doing for this next week. And then oil and gas also still in this ascending wedge, which is not a very bullish case here. A break below 131.84 and a rejection below it will be sending oil and gas further down, and that will ease the prices of oil and gas for inflation, and then that kind of has cascading effects as well. So we'll see what happens in terms of oil and gas. That's another sector that we're looking at. Microsoft and Apple are down massively this morning. Well, Microsoft is down $2. Apple is not yet down. Actually, hold on. Apple is not yet down. Apple is trading flat this morning, which is nice. That gives us a bearish opportunity if Nasdaq breaks down later. So then Apple becomes a possible bearish trade idea. But then I think there's going to be a lot of liquidity pent up for this one, and continue to see buyers coming in because they have a new product that will be launching in September, and then playing into that should be interesting. Another ticker that I'm watching is Meta for the break below 176 for the downside extension. Day trade / scalp will see 175, and then after that 172 or 173 as possible scenarios for Meta to come down into. Of course, showing kind of a topping out pattern, but we won't be sure until we see it break that pivot at 176.50. So definitely be watching Meta this morning with the team on Discord. So that's all I have for you guys in terms of a market update / tickers that I'm watching for today. Of course, I'll be watching Mania. Mainly just BBBY. I'm not trading anything else. Of course, there are some others that are being squeezed. It's Fubo, APRN, GME, a bunch of other tickers that are being squeezed. And there's really just absolutely no reason for us to trade all of them. It's, you know, for people who are just willing to gamble and lose some money. I took my position as a joke, and it ended up profiting, and then I ended up free rolling shares, and the free roll just got bigger and bigger, and so here I am with 830 shares, which I am basically free rolling at this point, and they're up pretty much 30% or so, and I'll probably be looking to close them out today, even if it can go higher. I think I've made enough from this short squeeze, and I don't need to be greedy here, so I'm going to be taking profits off the table right at the open. I can do it right now too, but I think that there's one more squeeze left in the tank, and then I'll be kind of taking my profits off the table. Once I see this kind of having a topping out pattern and the volatility starting to die, then I'll take my profits off BBBY. So, you know, just kind of scale out in bits and pieces and see how that goes. Where is the top here? Definitely not possible to tell exactly where the top is. And as I mentioned, you can only go pivot to pivot. So the next pivot from here is 32, and then the pivot after that is 35. So likely for us to move into these two levels. There is a strong supply at 30, which is where we are right now. This level is a very strong supply because this is a previous resistance level multiple times here. And so we're likely to see a lot of resistance in this area. But then if, you know, buyers can break through this ceiling over here, then we'll probably see some upside into 32. And then 35, and then yada yada. You guys get the point. So definitely don't throw your capital at this thing if you don't have money to lose. This is one of those trades you take, which is like a lottery ticket. Once again, do not think of this as a great trade idea of any kind. You're better off playing the indices and waiting for Nasdaq to break down and reject 13,474. And once it starts rejecting this level, then you can play the downside on a bunch of stocks like Microsoft and Apple, which are the two biggest market caps of Nasdaq, and then also short semiconductors, right? Like Nvidia. Nvidia is down pretty massively, and break below 185.09 today. We'll see a retrace back of 180. So that will be, you know, break here, reject here, and then 179 to 180 is a target for Nvidia if we can get the pullback. So you're better off playing other things where the risk to reward ratio is nicer, and you can see a lot of this have the risk to reward ratio stacked against it, and downside is favored more than the upside at this point. Of course, as I mentioned, anything can happen. Market can continue to melt up and then trap one more time and then drop. We already got a couple of those traps day before yesterday, and remember that this week is OPEX. So there's definitely going to be a lot of trapping. It just depends on what kind of trapping and how often it's going to happen. But having rug pulls and then quick buy-ups on OPEX week is a very, very common thing. So be very careful in this week especially, okay? Alrighty. Do we have any tickers that you guys want me to break down? And also, any other questions stock market related or any other questions in general, please go ahead, write it down in the comments. I'll take care of it in just a minute. If I don't see any, then I will end the stream really soon, because then I would... Okay, Tesla. All right. So as of last stream on Monday, I mentioned a caution on Tesla at 9:10. And how wrong was I? Because it ended up blasting through that and up to 9:36. Now, yesterday we managed to play some Tesla puts and played some of this downside action. And right now it seems to be pretty much pulling back from this little high over here. So where's the Tesla pivot? The Tesla pivot is at 909 or so. And a break below 909, we'll see 900 tested, and then after that 888 or 889 tested. So that's the two levels for the downside. And if it starts to break to the upside, then 925 is one key pivot, and then if it breaks 925, it's likely to retest 936. So that's your upside downside pivot here. And I would only take it if it starts rejecting 909 to the downside, which means you have to look at the tape and see if there are buyers stepping in once it breaks 909. And if it really buys up very, very hard, then I would say the risk to reward ratio on the upside is kind of messy. I still don't like the risk to reward ratio to the upside as of right now. So the downside play is much more better in terms of RR. Yeah, that's all I have on Tesla, to be honest. I think the breakdown here will be much sweeter, and it will give us a better risk reward component. You could go risk off around 924 or 925, and then take your entry around 908, 907, and still have a really nice, decent downside to 875 or 888, giving almost a 1:2 risk to reward ratio here. So I like that setup better than playing this bounce, which is going to be range bound possibly all the way to the end of the week. Yeah, so I hope that's helpful. Okie dokie. Any other tickers? No problem, man. No worries at all. Okay, well, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's stream. Keeping it a short and sweet one. I'll see you guys back on Friday again, once again. These are meant to be quick ones, and we'll be trading with the team shortly on Discord in about 45 minutes or so. So if you want to know how to get into Discord, link is in the description. DM me on IG if you want a coupon code to get a discount. And that's about it. I hope that I'll see you guys on Friday. Take care till then. Remember, play it non-objectively. Don't have a bias here, and trade accordingly. Good luck and all the best for your trading day. Peace.